I'm Benita, and this is my podcast, Laid Off to Lift Off. The goal is to provide real layoff stories from all walks of life in 15 minutes or less. Hear about the day it happened, where they are now, and inspiring advice to help you through your own journey. Whether you've been there, are in it now, or think it's coming, I want you to know that you're not alone. Hi, everyone. I'm here with Lindsay, who graciously accepted my offer to be on this podcast. She's going to go through the day she was laid off, how she found out, what she's up to now, what's next for her, and advice for anyone in similar situations. Lindsay and I worked at the same company, but we never crossed paths. I actually saw a post of hers on LinkedIn, and I commented. She agreed to be on my podcast after I pitched it to her. So thank you so much, Lindsay, for agreeing to be here today.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. My biggest motto is feel the fear and do it anyway, which is what I'm doing today. Of course, I have a lot of doubts about making my layoff super out there and visible, but really the key for me is to inspire people and empower people as much as possible. I am a really big believer of owning your story.
I love that. Thank you. So tell us about the day it happened. How'd you find out?
Well, the day that it happened was really interesting. I had heard rumblings around that something was possibly gonna happen, and I got the email from my boss, which was very ominous. And right at that point, I knew.
Yeah.
It was a weird feeling, especially because I was a week earlier from going back to the office. So I was on maternity leave and I was going to be going back that next week. So that was also kind of like an interesting layer to all of it. But I knew from that point, and then there was a meeting scheduled. The weirdest thing about it is that it just didn't feel like my boss. It was very robotic and cold. And I knew that it was just something that wasn't personal and that he just had to get through, and he had to do it in a certain way and be professional, of course, with HR on the line. I can't really say it was a huge shock, but it always hits different when it actually happens to you.
Yeah, for sure. How awful. I'm so sorry that happened in the way it happened too. Was it on a Zoom call?
It was on a phone
A
call,
phone
so
call.
not a Zoom call. And I think part of that was because I technically wasn't working since I was on leave.
Right.
Maybe if I was working, it would have been a Zoom call, but I mean, I appreciated that it was just a phone call at that point.
So he told you this was happening. And what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was to thank him. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like I said, I really didn't take it personally. I wanted to leave on good terms with him. He's been a really amazing manager, and I've worked with absolutely incredible people. So I don't hold it against anybody. Of course, like it's hard to say you don't take something completely personal like that, but
Right.
that was really my first thought. From there, I kind of went into a little bit of a shock, mainly because I was really excited to go back. I really missed my colleagues, and I really missed that camaraderie and working on challenges and problems. I was ready to go back and hit the ground running. So that was a big disappointment.
I know exactly how that feels. So what are you up to now? What's next for Lindsay?
I have been diving into LinkedIn, posting and sharing my thought leadership, and really trying to get back to the roots of my own personal brand, because that's something that nobody can take away from you. I am storytelling as much as I can, hoping to inspire people, uplift people, and just spread positivity out there, especially around the job search process. As everybody knows who's in it, it could be very challenging and soul sucking. And I've just noticed that there is so much noise out there that is negative, and the negativity is real, and all of that is valid. But my goal is to focus on the positive. So I put more positive stories out there about awesome HR folks I've worked with, recruiters, hiring managers, and I try to show the behind the scenes of my job search, even as so far as to post that I had gotten like a sixth interview out of my whole career. It was like the sixth time that I've interviewed with Netflix. I
Yeah.
even put that out there and, put that behind the scenes of what was going on and my rejections and all of that. So I want people to feel like they're not alone and everything that they're feeling is completely normal. I'm trying to get as much clarity as I can, and I really feel like I have that. And part of that is figuring out, after spending 13 years in entertainment marketing strategy on more of the traditional side of entertainment, where is entertainment going next, and how can I help shape that? So there's two areas that I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at creator economy, and there's a really interesting shift there. I've seen, for example, that not only is the creator economy happening right now and there's whole ecosystems and businesses being built around creators, there's brands that are opening their own entertainment studios. I saw recently, for example, that Dick's Sporting Goods is creating their own entertainment studio. So I'm following all of those pieces as much as I can.
I
And the
didn't know
second
that about
thing,
Dick's, so thanks for that heads up.
yeah. And Starbucks has announced it before, and there's a lot of other ones. So that's
Wow.
just an interesting shift that's happening. My intention throughout my whole job search networking process is to be remembered before I'm needed. And visibility and building relationships in authentic ways is absolutely key to that strategy. So I'm trying to build those relationships as much as I can and learn and offer the value that I have before those pieces come together as much as possible. So it's something that I'm really striving to do and that I've been doing since the layoff. I'm
Wow.
also conducting a full-time job search at the same time, which is really interesting and also does help me figure out the clarity of what I'm looking for next.
Gotcha. That all sounds fabulous. Do you only post on LinkedIn or do you have other platforms that you post to as well?
That's a really good question. I've built my following on LinkedIn over the course of my career, mostly starting about 5 years ago. And I took a really big pause from that. And now I'm really turning things up back to those postings and getting things out there. I am at about 5,600 followers right now on
Yeah.
LinkedIn under Scrappy Strategist. I did build a TikTok for Scrappy Strategist. That's just living there alone, just, lonely right now. I'm
Yeah.
dabbling in video content a little bit, but it's really daunting. Of course, as people know that have done these kinds of things, the hardest part is always starting because you always feel like it's like a mess and it's not perfect. So
Yes.
I'm putting the mess out there, everybody. Enjoy,
As
and
you
we'll see what happens.
should. My motto has become it takes courage, not confidence. Confidence comes after. You need to
Love
have the
that.
courage to start. Just do it scrappy, do it messy. Sometimes I put out these videos and my lips don't match up to the words I'm saying because my editing is totally a mess. But that's
Yeah.
okay. It happens. Everything is a learning experience. What would you say to someone who thinks LinkedIn is cringe or I don't want to post on LinkedIn? It's not people's number one platform to post on.
I would say number one is embrace the cringe. I'm all about that. Part of what I put out there, I would say, is very playful. I'm very much not about that corporate
Yes.
polish. I keep things real. I'm gonna post, and I do post a lot of cringy stuff, and you just gotta embrace that. I totally understand why people are on other platforms, but you can't deny the fact that hiring managers and recruiters are on LinkedIn, and it's the absolute best place for thought leadership.
Yep.
So that's key. The other thing I say to everybody is you have to own your story. Part of owning your story is having that visibility, putting yourself out there, and building trust. There's nothing more important right now than building trust, and especially in this job search world right now where the
Yeah.
competition is as crazy as ever, you need to find ways to build that trust and that authority. And the way that you can do that is by posting, and you have to just start. I think the challenge with that is people want instant gratification, and you don't get that. It takes time. You have compounding effects when you stay at it consistently. It could take 6 months. It could take a year. You can get no engagement and no likes for months. And
Yeah.
then one day you hit this plateau and all of a sudden your viewership and your engagement rises. What I tell others is it's kind of like investing your first $100 in the stock market. you're not going to see that return potentially for a long time. And you have to look at the future you.
Yeah.
What is the future you saying? What are you providing to the future you? What opportunities are you going to unlock for the future you? I found my last 2 roles through LinkedIn. People found me because
Yep.
I was posting, I was putting myself out there, and people lurk, and they lurk for a long time, and you don't know who's watching.
That is
You want
so true. I post a lot on LinkedIn too. When I meet people in person, even friends and acquaintances I've worked with over the years, people are like, "Oh my gosh, I love what you're doing on LinkedIn. I saw you, I always see you posting on LinkedIn," but they never engage in the postings. They never like it, they never comment, but they see it and they tell you about it after. Oh, but you never like engaged with it. I didn't know you were looking, but people are looking.
people are looking. And people want to see what you have to offer. LinkedIn is a great
Yeah.
place to show your value. You have to figure out where your unique value is and what you're good at, and how do you package that all up so that you can add value to the networks
Yeah.
and relationships that you're building, and to the companies that hopefully will hire you for those skills and experiences that you bring to the table.
I love that. I love everything you're saying. I think it's so important to hear it from different people and hear it consistently too, because eventually it might stick in your head. I talk to a lot of people. I'm like, "Are you posting on LinkedIn?" And they're like, "No, I thought about it, but I don't have anything to say." I'm like, "But you do. You're talking yourself out of it for some reason." I know you mentioned a lot of advice in there too. So is there any additional advice you would give to someone who's been laid off or in similar situations like you? Anything you would like to add there?
Yeah, my goal is to avoid the typical advice. I'm not going to tell you to put keywords in your resume, but I will say most of the opportunities that I have received have been from building relationships. You need to dig your well before you're thirsty best you can. Something that's interesting, which people ask me about all the time, is, Lindsay, why don't you have your open to work banner? This has been such an area of debate for a long time. I want to share my perspective, which is
Yeah.
a little bit different. The reason it's different is because it's based on my goals and intentions, which may be different from others. I want to be remembered before I'm needed and build relationships authentically. There's so much more to me than the fact that I am looking for an opportunity right now.
Mm-hmm.
And first impressions are everything. And I don't want that to be the first impression of me. I think of it kind of the opposite, where I want to build a relationship with somebody and communicate with them for months. And then
Right.
one day they see something and they think, what? She's unemployed? I could
Mm-hmm.
help her. Like, why didn't she ask me for help? Because it's not about that. I want people to see me for what I offer and my strengths, which is ultimately I'm a strategic connector. And I have a gift for being able to build relationships with people and nurture those relationships over time and use those relationships to solve problems. That is why I take that point of view. I see no issues at all with having the open to work banner, especially if it works for you, but it's about the goals that you have. So I would encourage people to think through that a little bit and think about, why do I want that banner there? If you're somebody who primarily wants to build those longer term relationships and you're thinking about future you versus I need to get a job right now.
I think there's always so much confusion on, should I have the open to work banner? Should I not? I know a lot of people struggle with that too. So it's good to get a different perspective. Well, that's it for us, Lindsay. It is so nice meeting you. I look forward to all of your posts on LinkedIn and seeing where life takes you in a month from now, in a year from now. I know that you're gonna do great things, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. So thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you.
this. I will put your link to your LinkedIn profile in the description of this, so everybody check her out. I
Awesome. Can
appreciate
I just
it.
do a quick elevator pitch
Of
plug?
course, go for it.
Okay. Follow me if you want to learn more about how to turn curious people into loyal brand advocates. I've spent 13 years in brand, entertainment, and marketing strategy across different industries and areas of entertainment. I post about the career and job search process, always keeping it positive, always keeping it real. So thank you so much for your support.
What a great conversation that was with Lindsay. So thank you to her for being brave to share your story and give advice on the power of creating a personal brand and embracing the cringe of LinkedIn. I know I've definitely been there, but you just do it. It's not going to be perfect, but you have to start somewhere. So whether you're listening on a walk, in the car, or just trying to get through your day, I hope these stories give you a little spark of inspiration and hope. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you.